April 20th, 2026, an American negotiator in Islamabad picked up the phone and learned that the men he had been bargaining with for 48 hours did not actually run Iran. And the man who does is wanted by Interpol. His name is Ahmad Vahidi, Major General, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Until last month, most Iran analysts filed him under former defense minister, somewhere in the senior ranks. Today, according to the Institute for the Study of War, Euronews, Fox News, and Axios, all reporting independently over a 72-hour window between April 18th and April 22nd, Ahmad Vahidi is the single human being who decides whether the Strait of Hormuz stays closed, whether Iranian missiles fire, and whether a CISA cybersecurity advisory becomes the next attack on an American water utility. Today you will learn 3 things the Wall Street Journal has not yet reported: who Ahmad Vahidi actually is, and why his name was on an Argentine arrest warrant for 3 decades before it ever appeared in a Pentagon briefing. How, in the chaos after the February 28th strikes on Tehran, he quietly replaced Iran's elected government with a military council loyal only to him. And why every ceasefire headline you are reading this week is theater, because Washington is negotiating with the wrong people. Start with the resume. In March 1994, a Renault truck packed with ammonium nitrate explosive drove into the AMIA Jewish Community Center in Buenos Aires. The blast killed 85 people and wounded more than 300. Argentine prosecutors spent a decade building a case. In 2006, Interpol issued red notices against 7 Iranian officials they believed coordinated the bombing. One of those names was Ahmad Vahidi. At the time, he ran the Quds Force, the foreign operations arm of the Revolutionary Guard. The red notice is still active. You can look it up on Interpol's public website today. In 2009, despite the red notice, Vahidi was appointed Iran's Minister of Defense. He served 4 years. He then disappeared back into the IRGC command structure, surfacing periodically as Interior Minister, then as commander of the Basij paramilitary, then, in the months leading up to the war, as the senior-most uniformed officer in the Revolutionary Guard. On February 28, 2026, during Operation Epic Fury, the joint American-Israeli air campaign struck targets inside Tehran. Among the locations hit was a facility reportedly housing the new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, who had succeeded his father only months earlier. The Iranian government has released no medical statements. But every Western analyst covering Tehran, from the Institute for the Study of War to the Jerusalem Post, now reports that Mojtaba Khamenei was wounded in the strike and has not been seen in public since. That is the moment the center of gravity shifted. Because if you were paying attention to the right source documents, you would have noticed something strange happening over the next 6 weeks. Iran's elected president, Masoud Pezeshkian, attempted to appoint a new intelligence minister. His candidate was Hossein Dagan, a former defense minister, a regime loyalist, unobjectionable by any conventional measure. The nomination was blocked, not by parliament, not by the Guardian Council, by Ahmad Vahidi. Pezeshkian tried a second candidate, blocked. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, according to ISW's April 18th special report, can no longer issue diplomatic instructions without IRGC sign-off. Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf has been reduced to ceremonial appearances. The elected government of the Islamic Republic of Iran, as of mid-April 2026, has been quietly, bloodlessly overridden. A military council of senior IRGC officers, led by Ahmad Vahidi, now filters every piece of paper that reaches the wounded supreme leader. And here is where the story becomes urgent for an American viewer. Because on April 11th and 12th, United States Vice President J.D. Vance sat across the table from an Iranian delegation in Islamabad, Pakistan. He talked to Araghchi. He talked to aides. He believed he was negotiating a framework to stabilize the war. On April 20th, Axios published a single-sentence leak that ought to have led every cable news broadcast in America, and did not. The leak, sourced to a senior U.S. intelligence official, said that the Iranians who came to Islamabad were told by the IRGC on return to Tehran, and I am quoting, "You don't speak for us." Translate that into plain English. The Vice President of the United States spent 2 days negotiating the terms of a ceasefire with Iranian diplomats who had no authority to agree to anything. The man with authority was in Tehran, in a command bunker, and did not send a delegation. Now connect the dots to the headlines you are seeing this week. On April 7th, CISA, the FBI, the NSA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Department of Energy issued a joint advisory. AA 26097A, the advisory identifies IRGC Cyber Electronic Command Operators, known publicly as Cyber AV3 actively exploiting a 4-year-old vulnerability in Rockwell Automation, PLCs across American water, energy, and government facilities. Sensis, the internet scanning firm, puts the number of exposed devices at 5,219. On April 16th, 12 tankers broke the American naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz in a single day. On April 21st, the U.S. Treasury sanctioned more than 30 individuals, entities, and vessels tied to Iranian missile and drone procurement. Every named node, when you trace the authority chain, reports to the Revolutionary Guard. Every one of them ultimately reports to Ahmad Vahidi. This is not a series of unrelated escalations. This is one man, freed of civilian oversight, testing what happens when Iran's military operates without its government. And here is the payoff. The part that requires a documentary channel, not a news network, to say out loud. The United Nations estimates more than 30 million people have been pushed into poverty since the war began. The Iranian economy is in freefall. European industrial output has posted its first decline in 16 months. Every chart, every casualty figure, every oil price spike assumes there is a rational actor in Tehran who can be bargained with through the conventional diplomatic channels. There is not. There is a wounded hereditary supreme leader who has not appeared in public since February. There is an elected president who cannot appoint his own cabinet. There is a foreign minister who cannot issue his own instructions. And there is a 4-star general on an Interpol Red Notice for the worst act of anti-Semitic terrorism in Latin American history, now running a sovereign nuclear-armed state in everything but formal title. Every ceasefire headline you are reading is theater. The war is not paused, it is delegated. Until Washington names the actual counterparty. Until an American official says, on the record, the words, "We are negotiating with the IRGC," and the IRGC is led by Ahmad Vahidi, and he is wanted by Interpol. Nothing that happens at a table in Islamabad is binding in Tehran. Watch for Mujtaba Khamenei's first public appearance. If it happens in the next 30 days, the civilian break may reassert itself. If it does not, you are watching the quietest military coup in modern Middle Eastern history unfold in real time, on satellite imagery and OFAC press releases, and almost no one in the Western press is naming it. If you want to understand how Iran actually fights, who actually gives the orders, and what Washington is missing while cable news runs blockade footage on loop, subscribe to Beyond the Scene. The next investigation drops in 72 hours. Hit the bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching.